Okay, so I'm gonna stop right here, and we're going to be discussing the domain and the range, how to find the domain and the range, and then we'll continue. Okay, for the domain, if we have y equal to x squared, do we have to think about the domain, or we can do it just by inspection?
Inspection.
Just by inspection, right? Because is there any restriction for x? Yani what value can x take? Any value, right?
Yes.
Any value you can get what? You can get its square. So normally x receives the values from the x-axis, and the values from the x-axis are, what are they? Are they just numbers, or rational numbers, or real numbers? What are they? They are real numbers, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if they are real numbers, then we don't talk about the imaginary. So since they are real numbers, we could just get the square of each and every one of them. So the domain will be negative infinity to positive infinity. Everybody is following, right?
Yes.
What is the range? Tell me what the range is. It's right there, but explain to me why.
From the y-axis, because x squared, it's like the shape u. So when we take the range, it's going to be from 0 to infinity, which is up.
Excellent. So when you get the square of any number, be it positive or negative, it will always be what?
Positive.
Positive, right? And the smallest number to get the square of is 0. So if we have 0, the square of 0 is 0. So what we have here in the range, the smallest value is 0. And the largest value is infinity, right? The largest value is infinity. Just a minute. Okay, let's take a look at the second. The second is y equal to 1 over x. Just think about this. Just give me 1 second. Think about this. Try to see if we can just draw the line. Okay, so the function will be something like this, right? Correct? And this is what? This is y-axis. I'm sorry, it's a little bit skewed, but we'll do our best. And this is x-axis, correct?
Correct.
So for x equal to 1, it will be 1. For x equal to 2, it will be 4, right? For
Right.
x equal to 3, it will be 9, and it will continue that way. And for x is equal to negative 1, it will be 1. For x is equal to negative 2, it will be 4, the same. So it is pretty much symmetric about the y-axis, right? It's symmetric about the y-axis, and at the same time, it doesn't even reach the negative values of y. So you can see that if we look at the domain, we look at the x-axis, and it can spread from negative infinity to positive infinity. If we are looking for the range, we look at the y-axis. The lowest value is 0. 0 is included. That's why we have closed interval. And then, of course, this will continue to grow to infinity. So 0 and infinity. Okay, now let's take a look at this function. Do we know how the graph of this function is going to be? Let's go ahead and
Yes.
put the y-axis. Okay. What value should we exclude from this one? What value? Zero. Right. Why do we exclude 0? Why should
Because it will
It
be
is undefined.
Yes, because 1 divided by 0 is undefined. Since 1 divided by 0 is undefined, we can just go ahead and exclude the 0. So if we exclude the 0, that means we do not have any x-intercept and no y-intercept. Is that correct? So there is no x-intercept, correct? Because to find the x-intercept, you have to put what? Y equal to 0. To find the y-intercept, you have to put x equals 0. If you put x equal to 0, y will be what? Infinity, right?
كيف رسمتها هذه؟
Huh?
Why?
We're coming to it. My question is, we want to know the x-intercept and the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we put x equal to 0, right? If we put x equal to 0, what are we going to get for y?
Undefined.
Yes, good. And if we put y equal to 0, x will be equal to what? Infinity, right? So that means they will not cross the infinity. Let me ask you this question. If x is equal to 1, what will the value of y?
1.
So let's just put a point here. So this is 1, 1, right? Now, you see that point I put? Now, if x is equal to 0.1, what will the value of y? If x is equal to 0.1, what will the value
10.
of? Huh?
10.
10, right? So that's 1, this is 10. Okay? If x is 0.001, so this is a 10.
100.
0, 0, it will
100.
be 100, right? So you can see that it will come from all the way up, and it will curve, and it will bend, and it will continue. If x grows, the more x grows, the lesser the value of y will be, correct? And it will meet y at infinity, this side, and it will meet, it will meet x at infinity on that side, and it will meet y at infinity on this side, correct?
دكتور ما فهمت يا أخي كيف طلعنا الشكل؟
طيب طيب قلنا لو حطينا x equal to 1 y بتساوي 1 صح؟ هذه البوينت x equal to 1 هذه البوينت y equal to 1 صح؟ سو هذه البوينت الأولى. طيب لو حطينا x equal to 0.1 x equal to 0.1 what will y be؟
0.1
لا x equal to 0.1 x
اوكي
1 على 1 من 10 كم؟
اوكي
ها؟
اوكي تمام
بيعطي 10 1 على 1 من 10 بيعطي 10 صح؟ طيب 1 على 1 من 100 بيعطي 100 1 على 1 من 1000 بيعطي 1000 كل ما تصغر ايش؟ كل ما تصغر الاكس كل ما زادت الواي صح؟ وتظل تزيد ان توصل انفينيتي صح؟ طيب من الواحد من هنا اذا صرنا نزيد الواحد صار 2 بيكون ايش؟ نص مظبوط؟ صار 2 واي بيكون نص صار 3 بيكون ثلث صار 4 بيكون ربع وماشي صار 100 بيكون 1 على 100 صار 1000 بيكون 1 على 1000 وبظل ماشي الى انفينيتي صح؟
بس هو دكتور لما الاكس يزيد الرقم تحت مو يصغر يعني مو قاعد يصغر اليونت.
طيب ما هو هلا الاكس مش بيزيد على هذا الاتجاه الاكس مش بيزيد على هذا الاتجاه مش بيزيد هيك الاكس هذه الفانكشن زايده ولا ناقصه؟ زايده ولا ناقصه الفانكشن؟
هذه متزايده.
هذه زايده الفانكشن؟ كيف الفانكشن تكون زايده؟
لان قاعد يعني قاعد تمشي بالبوزيتيف سايد.
واذا الفانكشن زايده ولا ناقصه؟ كم الفانكشن؟ متناقصه.
ما تكون متناقصه ما فهمت
decreasing.
الفانكشن decreasing هنا. ليش decreasing؟ طيب اذا حطينا هنا اذا حطينا 2 يعني half وين الفانكشن لما كانت half؟ هنا half صح؟ هنا x equal to half صح؟ إذا كان x equal to half
طيب.
وين الفانكشن هنا صح؟ لما x صارت 1 وين الفانكشن جات هنا. لما x صارت 2 الفانكشن صارت half من هنا. هذه الفانكشن اللي فوق هذه نازلة هيك. كيف هي نازلة وتكون يعني increasing؟ ها؟ الفاليوز تبع الواي بيصغر ولا بيكبر؟
لا هي فعليا شكلها decreasing صح؟ توني انتبه.
لا هي مش شكلها، هي 100% decreasing. Okay, so if that is the case, now we will go ahead and use the negative. How do you think the negative is going to be? The negative part of it. أكبر negative عدد أعطوني إياه. 0.1 or minus 0.1 or minus infinity. Minus 0.1 or minus infinity. الأكبر أي واحد.
minus 0.1.
minus infinity.
ها؟
minus infinity.
لا minus infinity is أصغر رقم. minus infinity is أصغر رقم.
minus مليون.
اوكي. So يعني أكبر رقم نيجاتيف ناخذه is 0.1. اوكي؟ إذا أخذنا 0.1 يعني negative 0.1. What will the value of y be? negative 0.1 في الx. So أخذنا negative 0.1 هنا negative 0.1 هنا في الx. What will the value of y will be?
minus 1.
ها؟
minus 1.
لا negative 0.1.
Oh, point 10. قصد 10.
ها 10 مظبوط. اوكي لو اخذنا 100.1.01 هنا يكون نيجاتيف كم؟ يكون نيجاتيف كم يا شباب؟
100.
1 over 100 بيصغر ولا بيكبر؟
بيصغر.
بيصغر. Let me just draw the function and I want you to ponder upon it. Okay, I'm going to do this way and let's see if you can agree with me. It's going to be something like this. And we're going to go like this all the way to go to infinity. Okay, so let's just take this point. If we take this point and assume that this is negative 2. Negative 2. If this is negative 2, okay, then what will the value of y be? Huh?
minus 0.5.
Yeah, negative half, right?
Yeah.
Negative half. Now, if we increase by going to 1, if we increase by going to negative 1, so negative 1 is greater than negative 2, so this is negative 1. So if the negative 1, then the value will be what?
minus 1.
Negative 1, right?
Right.
And then if we put negative half, the value will be equal to what? Negative 2, صح? Negative 2. It's going down, it's going smaller, right? And it'll keep going smaller that way. Okay? Until it gets to infinity. Okay? If it can reach. And let's go from this side. So negative 2 is right here. What about if we have negative 10? Negative 10. So let's go here.
Smaller.
Yes. It gets going that way, closer and closer to 0.
Closer to 0.
Clear, شباب؟ معلش أنا البن ما بده يشتغل معي، ما أدري ليش. واضح يا شباب؟
دكتور هذه increasing. أي واحدة؟
أي واحدة؟
اللي تحت.
هذه؟ خلينا أول شيء نتفق على what are we looking? We're looking at a function, okay? Now, we're just going that way. We're going that way, and if we're going that way, x will be decreasing. صح? If we're going that way, x will be decreasing. But while x is decreasing, y is increasing. Here, while x is decreasing, y is increasing. صح ولا لا؟
اوكي
لأن هذا أصغر قيمة لواي، صح؟ طالعين بنكبر في القيمة تبعت واي. لما نكبر في القيمة تبعت واي شو بصير مع الاكس؟ اكس بتتناقص، صح؟
صحيح.
ليش؟ لأنه هنا كبر واي. كل ما تكبر واي اكس بتصغر، صح؟ كل ما تصغر
كعملية عكسية.
اكس بتكبر، واي بتكبر. كل ما تصغر اكس واي بتكبر. كل ما تكبر واي اكس بتصغر، صح؟ فهنا واي
صح.
كانت صغيرة جدا، كبر واي.
علاقة عكسية.
لا، واي كانت صغيرة جدا، هنا صغيرة جدا. كبر واي، كل ما تكبر واي كل ما تطلع لفوق. كل ما ايش بصير مع الاكس؟ اكس بتصغر. اكس بتصغر لانه بتمشي ايش؟ large negative value. large negative value معناه صغير، صح؟
صح.
معي يا شباب؟
صح.
معك.
وهنا طبعا واضح يعني من اذا بس look is this function even or odd؟ انا اعطيتكم رول المره الماضيه تعملوها by inspection. طيب من غير by inspection, what is the equation that we use to find if a function is even or odd? F f of what? Negative x must be equal to what?
F of x.
How about negative f of x? It should be equal to negative f of x.
This will be odd function.
Huh?
This will be odd.
Yeah, the function is odd. Look, so here is the test. The test f of negative x must be equal to negative f of x, right? So just put negative 1 here. If you put negative 1, you will get y equal to what? If you put negative 1, you will get y equal to what?
Negative 1.
minus 1.
Minus 1. Okay, so minus 1 here. Okay. And over here, we want f of x. So we will put x equal to 1. If we put x equal to 1 here, what do we get? We get 1. And if we put minus in front of it, isn't it going to be the same?
Yeah.
We said
Yeah.
I gave you a rule that you should use without even thinking. The rule is the following. If all the exponents of x are odd and there is no constant, then the function is odd. واضح يا شباب؟
عيدها دكتور. Yes.
طيب. We said if all the exponents of x, we have just one x, but if we have a polynomial x cubed plus x squared plus this, if all the exponents are odd numbers, then the function is odd, assuming there is no constant value.
Okay.
The function is even if all the exponents are even.
Like the first one.
Yes, the first one is even. And what is the test for the even function? F of x equals to what? F of minus x equal to what? The test. F of minus
Equals to f of x.
yes, excellent. F of minus x equal to f of x. Okay, so this is a test for what? For a function to be even. F of minus x equal to f of x.
دكتور
Correct?
ما فهمت هذه.
ها؟
ما فهمت.
هذا رول. طيب اعطيك ماينس 1. f of minus x يعني y equal to what؟ ها؟
ليش انت ليش سويت كذا؟ ايش ليه؟ عشان نعرف ايش.
هذا قانون. نحن سألنا قلنا الفانكشن هذه even or odd. زين؟
زوجة وفتى ممتاز. ايوه.
طيب إذا عرفنا إنه هذه الفانكشن odd شو بنستفيد؟ بنستفيد إنه إيش؟ الأود فانكشن بتكون إيش؟ symmetric about what? The origin. So if you know this one, you don't have to think. You just do the image.
ما
فهمت؟
تقطع محور الاكس.
ايه
تكون عالمة يعني ما تقطع محور الاكس اذا
لا
جت.
مستحيل. ما نحن أول شيء قلناه الآن قلنا ما دام هنا عندنا الإكس في المقام معناه إيش؟ It's not defined. 1 over 0 is not defined. صح؟ So x cannot be equal to 0. Okay? If x is equal to 0, we're in trouble. Can you go to infinity? X equal to 0, that means y equal to infinity. Can you go to infinity? You cannot. So this equation has no x-intercept, has no y-intercept. How do you find the x-intercept? Putting y equal to 0. The only time y equal to 0 is x infinity, but we cannot go to infinity. صح? On the other hand, how do we find the y-intercept? To find the y-intercept, put x equal to 0. If you put x equal to 0, it will give you y infinity. You have to go to infinity. We cannot. So this has no intercept. The function will not touch the x-axis or the y-axis. How do we plot the function? Is if we know that this is an odd function, we plot one side and we just put a mirror here. Put a mirror here, okay? Put a mirror here and just show the image on the other side. You don't have to think, just keep going. واضح ليش نحن دخلنا في الايفن واود؟ اللي سأل السؤال واضح ليش دخلنا في الايفن واود؟
مظبوط.
واضح. طيب هذا التست. This is the test that we can tell if the function is odd or not. And this is a test that will tell us if the function is even or not. Is that clear?
Yes.
ليه؟
Good. So let's go to the next function. Oh, we didn't pick out this. So can anybody tell me why it is negative infinity to 0? And then we have a union. Why do you think we have a union here? This is union. Why did we need a union? The first one we just said negative infinity to plus infinity.
Because
Why?
there's no 0.
Yes, because there is a hole. You know, there is a hole. Where is the hole? The hole is that 0 is not included. The function does not even touch any of the axes. That's why we have to have the union. That means we have to consider this part by itself and then union this part. So what is this part? What is this part? What is the smallest value for this function?
Minus infinity.
We're looking at what? We're looking at the domain. So if we're looking at the domain, we look at what? We look only at the x-axis. We don't look at y. So at x, the further you go to infinity, what will happen to the value? It gets smaller, smaller, smaller for the y, right? But regardless of y, it will keep going. That means it will go all the way to what? To infinity.
Minus
but
infinity.
open. Yes, open. And since we're not going to touch 0 for the value of y, then it's also 0, but 0 is not included, right? Look over
Right.
here. 0, but 0 is not included. And it will continue to go until it goes to what? X equals to infinity. Infinity is not included. So this is the first group, right? This first group corresponds to where? Correspond to this graph. To this graph. Okay? And the second group corresponds to what? This graph. Everybody see it? Huh?
Yes, دكتور.
Yes.
So if we argued for this, this is just a mirror image. This is the mirror. So this is the image. واضحة يا شباب؟
So it's symmetry to the origin.
Which one? Yes, it's symmetric because it's odd. Every odd function is symmetric about the origin. Every even function is symmetric about the y-axis. This is an even function. It's symmetric about the y-axis. This is the y-axis. This is this function, y equal to x squared. Okay, so now everybody is comfortable that this part, the smallest value is 0. Why? Because if you approach close to infinity, what is the value of x be? You go down. It will be what? Close to 0. 0 is not included, صح? يا شباب.
Yes.
Okay, so we have what? 0. 0 is not included because we only get to 0 if you go to infinity. So we will make the number smaller and smaller. We get closer to the y, but we will never touch y. That's why we have what? Left, closed, and then 0. Let's open and then 0. Okay, comma.
Okay.
And on the other side is what? If we go down, x will continue to increase, increasing, it continues to increase until it gets to what? X equal infinity, but infinity is not included. So it is 0, comma, infinity.
You can write it in set builder notation also.
Yes, absolutely, very good. You can put it in set builder notation. You can put it in just the brackets, and this is the brackets. So this is all open parentheses. These are all parentheses. Okay. Now we talked about this. What about this side? Can anybody argue? They've got to be the same. Why? Because the function is symmetric, right? Draw a line. Draw a line that way. Draw a line that way. See? So they must have the same domain and the same range. Okay, Shabab?
Okay.
Good. Let me just erase, sorry. Let me erase these so that we can get enough space where we can do some writing. Oh, I deleted that one, never mind. It's very important to know how to figure out the domains. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the next function, y equal to square root of x. Tell me, what restriction do we have with this value of x?
Yes, we can't have negative under the square root.
Excellent, very good. That means what? X must be what? Greater than or equal to 0.
0.
Right? Everybody agree with us?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
anybody have any? Okay.
Even
Yeah, so for this particular function, we have to have x greater than or equal to 0, right? X greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so if x greater than or equal to 0, then we know that what? The lowest value is what? 0 included.
0.
Included. And then the highest value, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until infinity.
To infinity.
Good, very good, excellent. So this is the domain. What about the range?
The range is the same from 0 to infinity.
Absolutely, yes. Because the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 2 is 1 point something, the square root of 3 is 1.7, square root of 4 is 2, and as x increases, its square root will increase. So x and its square root, they start from 0. X and square root, they will be going to infinity. Which one will reach infinity quicker, x or its square root?
X.
Yes, x. Its square root will be behind, but it will also reach infinity. واضح يا شباب? Okay, let's take a look at this y equal to square root of 4 minus x. What restriction do we have?
X equal to 4 greater than or equal.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. X is greater than or equal to 4. X is greater than or equal to 4. Okay? شباب واضحة x is greater than or equal to 4؟
واضحة.
ممتاز. This is a little bit tricky if we're not careful. That means the smallest value under this must be what? The smallest value under this.
0.
The smallest value under this is 0, correct. When are we going to reach 0?
From 4.
When x is equal to 4, right?
Yes.
Right.
When x is equal to 4. That means the largest positive number I can have is 4. Can I have 5?
No,
Because
it's going to be minus or negative.
minus the square root of negative 1, which is wrong, right? So the largest value positive is 4, right? So 4 included. Correct?
Correct.
Now, we cannot go to 5, so we cannot go increasing from 4, right? The only way we can go is what? Decreasing from 4, right? So if I put 3 here, and the square root will be equal to what? If I put 3 here.
Equals 1.
If I put 2 equals square root of 2, right? If I put 1 equals square root of 3. If I put 0, it's square root of 4. If I put negative 1, square root of 5. Negative 2, square root of 6. Negative 3, square root of 7. Negative 4, square root of 8. And it keeps going. Right? So until it goes to negative 100, negative million, until it goes to negative infinity, but it will not reach negative infinity. So that's why we have negative infinity, comma, 4. Is that clear?
Clear.
If it's not clear, I will repeat. I don't mind. These are essential things. So everybody is following? Please.
Yeah.
ميماني لا يتعلماني مستحن ومستكبر. أنا ما عندي والله أعيد 10 مرات بس ما بدي ولا واحد فيكم يطلع منه فاهم. So everybody is comfortable. Very good. Can you
أنا والله ما فهمت والله يا دكتور.
عادي ممتاز جزاك الله خير أحسنت. نحن قلنا إيش؟ نحن نتحاشى أن يكون في صفر تحت الإيش سكوير روت صح؟ وهذا بيقول إيش؟ x لازم تكون greater or equal to 4 صح؟ أنا بدي أسألك بدي إياك تعوض تحت هناك 4. هل بعد ال4 نقدر نمشي ل5؟
ما تقدر 4 ناقص 4.
طيب معناه بعد ال4 خلينا نقول رايحين كده في زيادة we cannot do it. So let's say we cannot go that way. The only way we can go is what? بعد ال4 نروح على إيش؟ 3 نروح على إيش؟ 2 1 0 minus 1 صح؟
مضبوط.
minus 2 all the way خلينا نقول all the way until we get to for example minus 10. Okay, minus 10, and then we continue going all the way until we get to minus, for example, 1 million, and then we keep going, all negative. So if we keep going negative until we get to what? Minus infinity, right? صح؟ معي؟
نعم. إيه معك.
Keep going until we get to minus infinity. So I'm going to ask you, when x is equal to 4
من 4 لسالب ما ننهي. نعم.
We have tried. When x is equal to 3 we'll get what? 1 underneath. When x is equal to 2 we get 2 underneath of this. When equal to 1, we get 3. When x is equal to 0, we get 4. When x is equal to negative 1, we get 5 in, because 4 minus negative 1 is 5. When x is equal to negative 2, 4 minus negative 2 is 4 plus 2. You get 6. When x is equal to 10, we get 4 minus negative 10, that means 14 inside, right? And it keeps going. So x has to go all the way until negative infinity, right? Because you can see x is decreasing. And when x decreases, what under this bracket increases, because a negative value for x will always add to 1, right? Negative value of x will add to 1, correct? It was add to 4, sorry. واضح؟
واضح.
معلش زميلكم اللي قال انه ما واضح، لو ما واضح الله يرضى عليك خبرني. وضحت؟
واضح.
ممتاز. Very good. What about this part? The range. Who can justify the range for us? It's the same way. Who can justify the range for us?
It's the same thing. It's going up.
Absolutely. Yes.
Just in the x-axis. I mean,
right.
In the x-axis, yes, it's going to be negative, but the y-axis will be always up.
Yeah. To find the range, just plug in x equals to 4. The largest value of x will give you what? Will give you the smallest value in the range. صح? So plug in 4 here. 4 minus 4 is 0, so 0 included. That's the smallest value. And then if we have 3 over here, then we'll have square root of what? Square root of 1, right? Greater than 0, right? And then square root, if we have 2, square root of 2, greater than 0 and greater than square root of 1. And it keeps going. So it keeps increasing, right? Until it gets to infinity. واضحة يا شباب؟
واضحة.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to the one next to it. What is the restriction? 1, 1 is equal to what?
1.
You sure? 1
X squared.
greater than equal to x square. Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
بس عندي سؤال على الرينج.
تفضل عن الرينج هذا.
اي
ممتاز. خلينا نرجع. عندك انت هذه الفاليوز تبعت اكس صح؟
صح.
طيب اصغر اي فاليو من هذول بيخلي ما تحت الجذر اصغر فاليو؟ 4.
اللي هو 4.
يعني ايش؟ يعني اصغر عدد بصير 4 في الواي. اصغر فاليو في الواي 4. صح؟
تمام.
لا، اصغر فاليو في الواي اللي هو ايش؟ حط 4 هنا. شوف تحت الجذر ايش؟
يصير 0.
ايوه، فانا اصغر فاليو في الواي 0. صح؟ يلا let's plug in 3. 3 اذا حطينا 3 بيكون عندنا 4 minus 3. جذر ماله كم؟ يعني جذر 1 اكبر من 0 صح؟ طيب لو حطينا 2 هنا بيكون سكوير روت اوف 2.
طيب
بزيد
طيب دكتور، احنا نقول ان نفس يعني من الدومين من 0 الى سالب ما لا نهايه، يعني مو موجب.
لا الدومين من 0 الى زايد انفينيتي، لانه العدد الجذر ما بيعطيك نيجاتيف، الجذر بيعطيك بوزيتيف. الجذر ما بيعطيك الجذر بيعطيك positive, so the value inside will always be positive. We cannot use the negative part, we'll just use the positive part. واضح؟ طيب we said if we look بارك الله فيك. If we look at this equation y equal to 1 minus x squared, that means the restriction is what? 1 greater than
1 is great or equal to x squared.
Very good. Now, can anybody tell me where is the domain here? Now, if you have something like this, 1 greater than or equal to x squared, what does it mean? It means that
It means x will be greater than or equal to -1 and less than or equal to
excellent.
1.
ممتاز ما شاء الله تبارك الله. Greater than or equal to -1 and less than or equal to 1. واضحة يا شباب؟
دكتور عندي سؤال بس.
Go ahead.
ليش اللي تحت ما قلنا مثلا اكس تربيع اكبر من او يساوي 1؟
اي ما
يعني ليش
بفرق.
بدينا بالاكس؟
لا اكس تربيع مش اكبر. اذا صارت اكس تربيع اكبر بيكون عندنا نيجاتيف اندر الروت. صح؟ نحن ما ودنا نيجاتيف اندر الروت. اذا كان اكس تربيع اكثر من 1 معناه ايش؟ الرقم السالب اكثر من 1 فبيعطينا رقم سالب تحت. نحن
هو لازم يكون موجب ما
ايوه لانه ما فينا ناخذ الجذر تبع النيجاتيف فاليو. Good question by the way. Very good question. واضح؟
شكرا.
ممتاز بارك الله فيك. احسنت في السؤال. والله الاسئله مالكم ممتازه يا شباب. اي سؤال ممتاز. لانه انا متاكد في ناس بيكونوا قد يكونوا مستحيين. فلما واحد يسال يقول الحمد لله انه هذاك سال. فانتم بتفهموا الاخرين كمان. فممتاز اسالوا. Now everybody knows that it's x greater or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 1. X squared will be plus or minus 1, right? X squared will be equal to plus or minus 1, correct? يا شباب مش x squared can be equal to 1 هنا العلامة هنا
equal to 1 or minus 1.
نعم معناه x squared equal to 1. When x squared equal to 1, that's the largest value. So x equal to plus or minus 1. So x could be equal to plus 1, x could be equal to minus 1. And then any value in between. واضح يا شباب؟
واضحة.
Very good. So now we
between 1 to minus 1.
Yeah, between 1 and minus 1. يعني x equals 0 is okay. X equal to half is okay. X is equal to negative
minus half.
Negative half, yes. What about x equal to minus 2?
No, it's not okay.
Not included. Yes, because it is greater than or equal to negative 1. So we know the domain. What about the range? What about the range? What is the smallest value here?
Small value minus 1.
Minus 1, right?
Yeah.
So if I plug in minus 1, what do I get here? 0.
You get 0.
If I plug in 1,
1.
what do I get here?
Also 0.
0. If I plug in anything less than 1, I get a positive value inside. صح؟
But why we chose 1 in the way?
Why we chose 1? لأنه عندنا 1 minus x squared. So if we have 1 minus x squared, we want to make sure that the value under the جذر لازم يكون إيش؟ أكتر من 0. فعشان ما يكون أكتر من 0 x squared لازم تكون أقل من 1. صح؟ إذا حطينا x equal to 2, what will happen? x equal to 2.
It's going to be negative.
4 negative ما بدنا إياه. صح؟
Yes.
إذا ما بدنا نيجاتيف معناه إيش؟ الشرط نقول إيش؟ الواحد لازم يكون أكبر أو يساوي x سكوير. بهكذا بنضمن إنه إيش؟ الجذر لا يمكن يكون فيه إيش؟ نيجاتيف فاليو.
دكتور. طيب على الرينج كيف أطلع الرينج؟
حنمشي في الرينج. كلنا متفقين على الدومين يا شباب إنه حيكون نيجاتيف 1 and 1. إذا متفقين عليه نروح على
نعم متفق.
ممتاز ممتاز. قلنا الرينج كل اللي نعمله انه نعمل plug in the value of y هنا، والناتج تبع الجذر هو الرينج. So if we plug in the smallest value we get what؟ صفر صح؟
We'll get 0, yes.
0.
صفر. If we the largest value we get what؟
Also 0.
صفر صح؟ طبعا النيجاتيف 1 وال1 نيجاتيف هاف or half ونيجاتيف 1 third and 1 third ما بيفرقوا لأن عندنا x square صح؟ Remember the plotting of x square is something like this, right?
Like letter U.
Yes. So yes, 1 is like negative 1 صح؟ و half is like negative half. They have the same value, right? And what? 1 over 8 is same as 1 over 8, right? Clear? And
Yes.
it's something like this, right?
So we put 0 instead of x. So we put 0 instead of x.
Yeah. Because the largest value or the smallest value is what? Is 1, right?
1, yeah.
So if we put 1 here, we get 0. So the smallest value is 0. If we put anything less than 1, then under this square root will not be equal to 0. Anything less than 1. Put half. Half will give you 1 over 4. So this will be 1 minus 1 over 4. That's going to give us 3 over 4. Square root of 3 over 4. That's greater than, right? So we could go all the way until we get x equal to 0. When x is equal to 0, that's the largest. The largest value under this square root is when x is equal to 0. صح يا شباب؟
Correct.
Okay, because if we put 0, we'll get 1, which is the largest one.
Yes, so that is the largest value. معلش I know it is tricky لكن بالممارسة بيكون واضح. شباب وضحت هذه؟
Yes, it's clear.
طيب ناخذ بريك إن شاء الله. تاخذوا بريك؟
Okay.
Okay, 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
As you like.